In a world that often tells us, brand ourselves, seek the spotlight, how do ancient principles challenge our modern ideas about where our focus should really be? That's the core question we're diving into today on the Deep Dive. We're exploring a fascinating snippet from Daily Heavenly Manna, July 7. It's a daily spiritual reflection that opens with this really powerful directive. Behold, the Lamb of God, John 1.36. We've got just a single page of notes here from reprint 2418.1, looks like a commentary maybe. And our mission is just to unpack the wisdom in this, well, brief but impactful source.
Yeah, and what's immediately striking, I think, is how quickly this material just zeroes in on a fundamental principle. It cuts right to the chase about where you put your efforts, your attention.
Right.
It immediately challenges you, the listener, to think, where is my spotlight? Which, that's a deeply countercultural question today.
Okay, let's unpack that then. The source says, quite directly, all of the Lord's servants should call attention to the Lord and not to themselves. And then it contrasts this sharply with self-seeking. But, in a culture so focused on personal branding, isn't that a radical directive, almost counterintuitive? How does the text handle that tension?
Oh, it is radical, no question. But see, it's not suggesting you just dim your own light or give up ambition entirely.
Okay.
It seems to be more about understanding that real lasting impact, maybe the most positive kind, often comes when you direct attention to something bigger. A larger truth, a common good, a higher purpose maybe. And when you reorient that spotlight away from just you, it can maybe paradoxically amplify your positive influence. It shifts the motivation, from personal gain to something, well, bigger, more expansive.
Right. And then, immediately after that, it brings in modesty as a key virtue. What really jumped out at me here is it's not just having modesty, but actively developing and polishing it. The text actually calls it a gem, wherever found, one of the graces of the Spirit, which all of the Lord's consecrated ones should seek to have largely developed and well polished. And that phrase, consecrated ones, that seems to mean those really dedicated to this spiritual path, right?
Exactly. It frames modesty not just as like a personality trait, but as a dynamic thing, a spiritual muscle, you could say.
A muscle, yeah.
It suggests true strength isn't found in trying to be seen, but in that quiet, consistent effort to refine your inner character. So it's an active pursuit, a kind of spiritual discipline. It needs intention, refinement. And that lines up perfectly with the earlier point, doesn't it? Moving away from self-seeking.
Towards pointing to the Lamb of God. Yeah.
Exactly. It becomes a form of maybe self-mastery in a way.
Okay, so if the text is shifting our focus, encouraging virtues like modesty, what's next? Where does it lead? The source doesn't just leave it there. It pivots to what it actually means to follow Jesus. It describes it as walking in his paths, striving to do as nearly as we can what he would do today, and taking lessons from what he did and said personally, but also from instructions left for us through the apostles. That sounds very practical, really actionable.
It really does. It lays out a kind of comprehensive roadmap. It's not just, historical reference.
Right.
It's about a living emulation.
Yeah.
You draw from Jesus' direct example and the guidance passed down through those early teachers, the apostles. So it implies this continuous, maybe lifelong process of learning and then applying it. It makes something that could feel abstract, very concrete.
Yeah, concrete, and a journey maybe, like a journey of growth, not a one-time thing.
Exactly.
Right.
A journey.
And the text clearly states the outcome of this path, which sounds, challenging. It says, fellowship in his sufferings, the path to glory and joint heirship in his kingdom. That phrase, fellowship in his sufferings, that sounds intense. It's not just about enduring hardship, is it? It feels deeper.
I think so, too. It suggests a profound connection, doesn't it? Shared purpose, maybe deep empathy born from shared experience.
Sure.
And that path, that fellowship, culminates in glory and joint heirship in his kingdom, which suggests, a shared legacy, right? Participation in something eternal, a deep sense of belonging and ultimate purpose.
Wow.
Reconnect your daily actions, even the struggles, to a much larger ultimate goal.
So bringing it all together, this deep dive seems to reveal a really powerful framework for maybe purposeful living.
I think that's right. It's a call to humility, maybe even self-denial in a sense. It's about actively cultivating virtues like modesty.
The polishing the gem idea.
Exactly, polishing the gem. And then this practical, lifelong commitment to emulate and follow specific teachings, both from Jesus and the apostles. It really connects the everyday stuff to a much bigger eternal picture.
So thinking about all this, What does it mean for you listening right now? If modesty is a gem, something to be polished, and following this path involves learning from instructions left through the apostles, what specific practical steps might you take, maybe even today, to polish a virtue or to embody these principles? How could you shift even a little from self seeking towards pointing beyond yourself? Where might you find true influence, not in grabbing the spotlight, but maybe in purposefully redirecting it? That's your thought to mull over until our next deep dive.